Spike TV is on the verge of offering TNA a Thursday night primetime clearance. Key sources say it is expected within weeks, if not days, to be announced as part of a new Thursday night lineup on Spike. TNA Impact would be opening the evening at 8 PM, it turns out to be 9, with a 1-hour show followed by UFC Unleashed, a best of program, and then The Ultimate Fighter. The coaches on the next Ultimate Fighter series will be Tito Ortiz and Ken Shamrock.
That seems like it would have crossover potential.
Nah, no one wants to see those two guys. People hate those two guys.
Well, they hate when they're like really big surprises.
Yes, when they're teased. Both do have a interesting legacy with TNA wrestling.
It's pretty like, you don't think about it often, but TNA's like weird relationship with MMA has always been so much further ahead than like WWE's, and now WWE is co-promoted with the MMA company.
Yeah, because TNA were like the prototype there, weren't they? Because obviously they weren't owned by the same company that owns an MMA company, but they were broadcast by Spike, which was the home of the UFC when TNA went on Spike, and then the home of Bellator eventually later in the end.
Well, yeah, right, but there was always like there was a weird like sister relationship feeling vibe with Bellator.
So all the Bellator people would show up, and TNA became kind of a marketing vehicle for Bellator for a little while there. But yeah, there was a lot of MMA people popping in and out of TNA. Like Frank Trigg would become a recurring character in 2008 TNA for some reason.
It's like, you wonder if like a Cain Velasquez would have had his run in WWE if not for like TNA randomly just doing everything with everyone.
And like the first world champion in company history is Ken Shamrock, so clearly setting the tone very early.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like it was intrinsic in the DNA of the company, which is funny for a company that is so like not shoot, like or like wrestling is wrestling. It's like it's very odd. Wait, Garrett, I'm gonna hit you with a question. Right?
Sure.
Because I'm thinking about Cain Velasquez now.
Is he in jail?
As one does. I think he's out of jail right now.
Okay.
Garrett, Cain Velasquez
Yes.
wrestled 2 matches for the WWE.
Yeah.
Can you name them?
One was against Brock. That was in Saudi Arabia. I don't remember the other one.
Cain Velasquez. This is on a house show, so I'm gonna give you some rope with that one. Cain Velasquez and Humberto Carrillo versus the OC, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows.
Of course, Luke Gallows in the match. That's perfect.
And then, he had the 2 AAA matches right after. Not right after, like in consecutive years after. And had the other 2 AAA matches before. Like, he was wrestling in AAA the month before he debuted in WWE. They saw that my man was doing 6-man tags with Psycho Clown and Cody, and he's like, let's bring him in.
Yeah. He was pretty good in AAA, if I remember, for what he was trying to do.
It was a weird freak show as well.
Yeah.
Because you're like, why is this happening?
It's a good question. There wasn't a good answer. Well, there actually was a good answer. Cain Velasquez was a star. So like, it's not insane to do something with Cain Velasquez.
I hope he comes back and wrestles again. I want more UFC fighters who like can't do it anymore to start making their way into wrestling.
Just to get all the shooters?
Yeah, it'd be fun. It's because it's weird to see like actual celebrities. Give me like Daniel Cormier. He's like been talking about wrestling for 15 years. Come and do something.
Once appeared on an episode of TNA Impact.
Yeah, I assume he did like American Top Team stuff.
No, you saw it. That's already happened.
Oh shit, it did, didn't it?
It was when post-Olympics, he just walked out and waved.
Yeah.
He's like, hello guys. No one knows who I am right now, but wave.
Like, remember when like AEW got Jorge Masvidal on the show?
Yeah.
When like Masvidal was going through like his like giant resurgence in popularity.
I'll pretend I know who he is.
He won the BMF title.
I'll still pretend I know who he is.
The Rock gave that to him.
Oh, good. The Rock, a person who I put a lot of stock in 2024.
And he like needs someone. Did he need Chris Jericho? It's probably Chris Jericho.
It's always Chris Jericho. There are high hopes that they
Weird.
can shatter all previous ratings records for that program with those 2 high-profile coaches, going back to Shamrock and Tito Ortiz being in Ultimate Fighter. TNA President Dixie Carter tells...
They're not talking about Scott D'Amore.
TNA President Dixie Carter tells PW Torch she is unaware of an official decision to shift Impact to Thursdays, because PW Torch actually got the scoop on this, I think a week or 2 early. And she's like, no. She adds, though, that's been her company's goal for a while. And we have a Dixie Carter quote.
We've always had our eye on prime time, and we feel we've performed really well with the time slot we've been given.
She says, the latest TV ratings for Impact have been strong. The latest episode on Saturday night drew a 1.1 rating, the best for Impact yet. We'll get into ratings a little bit more in a minute. And the Monday replays have been strong lately, putting TNA at nearly 2 million for overall viewership every week.
That's insane.
Carter says that the ratings news elevated the mood of everyone on Tuesday afternoon before this week's TV tapings, with SmackDown having performed well on Thursday nights but moved to Fridays last fall. Thursday seen as an empty wrestling night, a time when fans have proven they will watch in large numbers large enough to satisfy Spike TV, even if it wasn't considered blockbuster numbers for broadcast network UPN. If Spike goes through with the Thursday night time slot, it's a strong commitment to TNA because it will be an interruption in the weeknight strip of CSI, which currently airs every night at both 7 p.m. and 8 p.m.
What will they do with the CSI war?
Which is funny because it ends up airing at 9, so they're like, we actually can't interrupt CSI. It's not even first run CSI, it's CSI repeats.
It's crazy how, like, syndicated TV just crushes.
Yeah, why would you ever buy new programming when you can just air old episodes of The Big Bang Theory that a million people will watch instead?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is one of those things where it's like TV has gotten to the point where there is enough content people like that you probably don't ever have to make new stuff. If you were being deeply cynical, you could just repeatedly churn out the old stuff and enough people would watch it to become a viable business.
It's really I guess because the other idea is like, if you want your new stuff, go to your streaming services. If you want background noise of stuff you've seen 1,000 times, just chuck it on the television.
Because like there was this huge Suits resurgence like last summer.
And now we're getting new Suits.
Yeah, they're making a Suits spin-off because of it. And they didn't understand why people just wanted to watch Suits as comfort food. They're like, people clearly want more Suits. It's like, no, Suits and pretty much all of like the USA Network shows of that era, if you want like a Psych or a Burn Notice or any of those kind of shows, they are all like the perfect, throw it on as background noise, pay like a quarter of your attention to it, and just live life gleefully without having to engage your brain kind of shows.
And they also doomed the Suits spin-off by casting Stephen Amell.
Oh, why would you do that?
As the lead.
No.
Which, like, has there ever been a more guaranteed way of ensuring your show doesn't get more than 2 seasons?
Yeah. Oh, they did cancel Heels, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh, that was why Stephen Amell melted down over the strike as well, because the strike kind of fucked over Heels.
Well, you know what? I've always said that if you strike... What, I just turned really anti-union because they killed my wrestling show.
As the biggest fan of Heels yourself, you're like, how dare they take down my favorite wrestling-related scripted television show?
I've never seen the 2nd season of Heels.
It's just too raw now to watch.
Yeah, I how could I, you know?
So you are also very bad for not watching second season of shows you watch.
Stephen Amell is not charismatic enough.
No, he's not very good.
But he's not charismatic enough to be Suits, man.
But he was okay in Arrow, but the whole point of Arrow was that he was like stoic so he could get away with it.
Which is funny, because like Green Arrow is not that. They're like, what if we took one of the guys who was the quippiest men in comic books and then be like, let's make him sad Batman.
Listen, that show ran for like 100 seasons, so clearly it was a good idea.
The CW like superhero stuff is interesting because they clearly had like one really good writing team that they would throw onto different shows for each season, and then that season would be good, and then they remove them and put them on like the Flash, and the Flash would be good, and then Arrow would stink for a season, and then they'd go back and forth like that forever.
I can't believe people watch every season of all of those shows. So many of them.
I watched 70% of it.
So much of it. Too much, some would say.
Well, then, because, like, it got really confusing when they started doing multiverse stuff. What was the best show was the fucking...
Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, Legends of Tomorrow ruled.
Which is funny, because it's a classic. I don't think it was very good at the start, or but maybe not what people wanted it to be at the start, and then they went to, like, we're just going to do, like, a Doctor Who thing where the Legends of Tomorrow go to a random period in time and get up to antics.
Yeah.
And then everyone had a good time.
And then, like, they replaced, like, the main guy, and things got worse for a little bit. But they ended up... It's so funny how cheap those shows look.
Yes.
Which is, like, possibly, like, part of the charm.
Yeah, especially, like, when there's so much superhero stuff, I almost prefer just, like, TV stakes and TV... Because, like, it is the problem with the movies these days, not to get back to Madam Web, but with general superhero movies, is just, like, they're going so big and then they become so CGI that they just become hollow and empty and who could possibly care? As opposed to this TV stuff, which generally can't afford any of that, so it has to be, like, more grounded and interesting.
Shout out to Titans for keeping that spirit alive for a while.
I watched a couple seasons of Titans. I should watch the rest of it.
I liked the first season a lot, and then they did Nightwing, so I had to keep watching a little bit. That's done now?
I think it is done, yeah.
They did 4 seasons of that. It ended last year.
It's wrapped up. There's not that many actually superhero TV shows going at the moment.
Well, yeah, because like Marvel's trying to rekindle the Netflix stuff. But there hasn't been, like... The last one was Echo.
Which I actually have not heard a fucking word about.
It's the one I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen Echo, and I haven't seen The Marvels yet.
I don't think anybody has seen Echo. I have not heard anybody talking about Echo.
Part of it is, I think, people just like, if I want to see the, like, Netflix verse stuff, I'll just wait for fucking Daredevil. Where, like, you're clearly going extra hard on it being the Netflix verse.
TNA pushed for a 90-minute show on a Monday night time slot. The idea being that...
Why? Stop doing that, you fucking idiots.
They were only going to go head-to-head with Raw for the last 30 minutes, so that the first hour would be unopposed, and then the last half hour would be going to war. But they can't leave it alone. It's insane.
I don't get it. I don't get the fascination with it. I don't like, why do you want to be killed so badly for 30 minutes of your TV show?
It does, like, put in context, like, the actual Monday Night War that ended up happening in 2010 was not, like, this isolated thing. There was, like, an 8-year ramp up to them finally getting that shot to go head-to-head to get absolutely massacred.
Yeah, they really wanted...
Spike, however, insisted on a 1-hour Thursday time slot instead. TNA gladly accepted the terms to move to primetime national basic cable for the first time ever. It will premiere at 9 p.m. on April 13th. And we have another Dixie quote. Ooh, we have 2.
The move to primetime on Spike is the most significant event in TNA Wrestling's short history.
It says TNA Carter, Dixie President, TNA Wrestling. Let's go with that.
I am very proud of our entire team and all their hard work in achieving this milestone. Spike has been a fantastic partner, and we will have accomplished so much together in just 4 months. We look forward to continuing to work with them to grow the TNA brand during this exciting time.
Thank you, TNA Carter, Dixie President. We also have a quote from Kevin Kay. TNA Wrestling has been delivering strong ratings for Spike and is continually growing its audience. This is the GM of Spike TV, by the way.
Spike TV GM Kevin Kay said on Monday.
Wrestling fans have been looking for an alternative and have found it in TNA's brand of high-flying and action-packed entertainment. So TNA going prime time on Thursdays.
Kevin Kay impression.
I think he actually has this vaguely Irish sounding accent that's not quite Irish sounding, but has a little bit of Irish in it.
Yeah. Someone say Irish neutral.
It is Irish neutral. So that is TNA moving in April to primetime on Thursdays. Still 1 hour, but primetime.
What do you think, like, what's the ideal TV show length for weekly wrestling television?
I think in terms of having to actually have enough time to tell the stories you need to tell and give a roster enough time to develop, it does have to be at least 2. I think 90 minutes, in terms of, like, what's the best show for in the enjoyment of the viewer, it would probably be like 90 minutes.
I think it is 2. But that it's 2 if you can promise, like, exciting things to happen. Like, to probably, like, produce the best show possible, like, it's probably closer to an hour and a half.
And unless you're watching live, it ends up being 90 minutes anyway, so...
Yeah, unless you're watching AEW on Fight.
Oh yeah, because they have the picture-in-picture stuff, so it ends up being like an hour 45, because I think about half the breaks are picture-in-picture, I'm not sure.
It's, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't have the patience for it, but also I'd be depressed if it was any shorter.
And like, you can always skip through bad stuff.
No.
It's better to have more time for good stuff to develop than have less time, I guess.
You should just have good shows, I think.
I think that would be a solid strategy. Or if we booked good wrestling.
It would help,